They have a platinum rainbow day date with a baguette bezel and a pave dial. So like it's $120,000 watch.
Wait, what? Back in action. What's up, y'all? Welcome back. Normalize Talking About Watches, Epi 26. Big day.
26, huh?
Yeah.
Did I put that right in there?
26? Is it 27?
26.
26.
We've
26.
passed our silver
We've passed our quarter century of
podcast
epis to quarter hundred podcast epis. I don't know how to say that correctly.
It's called the silver or something.
Silver something.
25,
Silver
50s.
server.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Silver.
Bam. We got our first ever guest that is not pictured, which is my dog Bosco.
He may make an appearance.
He might. He is laying down perfectly right now, just at our feet.
Yeah, he is literally just out of the frame.
It's pretty dialed, which is really good.
We'll get him. Let's see if he can make an appearance. If not, we'll get him up on camera at the end of the episode. We'll bring him out.
I like that.
Which will be fun.
I hope so. We got some exciting news today, so I'm gonna try to get into it. Nikki C over there has got his
Spindrift.
Spindrift.
Sponsored by Spindrift.
You're a big Spindrift guy,
I love those things, dude.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you see a beverage that's not water and it's not alcohol and not coffee, and this is just a good... Bro, these things have 4 calories.
I knew he was going there. He's counting calories over here.
Well, it's like drinking nothing, but it tastes more than nothing, you know?
Right.
Like water tastes like water. This is really good flavor, in my opinion, for 4 calories and nothing else. 0 everything else.
All right,
Shout out
Spindrift, sponsor us.
Free plug.
We want to be sponsored by
that'd be huge.
A bevy.
That would be huge.
Some kind of beverage sponsor. We're not going to say, just plug in a random bevy that we don't use. We want it to be like a Celsius or
something that we're
Spindrift, something that we use. But if we're using you, that means you're fair game.
Exactly.
We have some exciting things coming in, so I didn't even think about this. But the next time you see us on camera, well, I can't fully promise that because we might film sooner. However, I think the next time you see us on camera, we are going to have some bad blank chairs to sit in because we got some awesome chairs from my mom's company, McKinley Leather, which we're going to start plugging in because that is something that we're going to be using heavily, and I think that they're going to be awesome. So,
and there's 4 of them.
There's 4 of them,
that means.
Which means we got some big things cooking.
Hopefully they fit in here.
Yeah, we'll find out.
We'll find out.
We might have to switch back to a 2-camera setup.
Yeah, maybe.
Like 1 camera over, looking at those, 1 camera looking here, and have more editing work, I think, on the back end where it's like switching between.
That would only be for guest episodes, though.
Correct.
So it's all right.
Right, which we're going to start doing a lot more of.
Yeah.
All right. You are very predictable over here. Wearing black and white with a black and white watch.
Tudor Chrono. I'm wearing this to celebrate the weather. Just because we were talking about this 2 days ago. Joe made a good point about what were you calling it? Seasonal watches.
Seasonal watches,
which I think is a cool thing, and I feel like it's not like we're inventing it by any means, but I think it's the first time we've had a genuine conversation about the fact that there's actually such thing as a seasonal watch. I know people always say oh, it's a great summer watch, blah blah blah. This watch I have not worn in a long time, and that's because one, it is on. Well, no, the only reason is because it's on this strap. And I didn't like the bracelet. It was a little too chunky for me. Yeah, so I swapped it to the strap, which this is a Tudor leather. So this is the one that you can actually get the watch on. I took off the little... I was going to stay light on the graphics, but I feel the need to show it because I think it's whack, and I would like for people to give feedback. This comes on with that, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It has a leather...
It's like a wrist guard under the case back of the watch. It's weird. Yeah. It's fatter.
I don't know who's wearing the watch like that. I've never seen anyone wear it like that, but that's how it comes. So I had to take that off and then put it on just like this, which I think looks great.
It gives me leather jacket, grunge metal vibes.
Yeah, exactly. And there's probably someone that loves it, and maybe it's more comfortable. I don't know, but I personally like it. Or
this. Aviator vibes too. It gives me you're riding a motorcycle through the desert
Yeah.
and you've got like this big leather band on your wrist with a watch on top of it.
Yeah,
I don't know if that creates more comfort.
I guess that's the point. I don't know why else you would have it, right? Because it's not protecting anything. Like what's going to get in between your skin, your wrist, and the case back? I don't know, but either way, I put it on this rubber strap not too long ago, or not too long after I bought it. Sorry, and the only negative is that here in Charleston it's hot, and
Real hot.
I'm sweating within. I'm outside quite often for work. I'm sweating within 5 minutes of being outside, maybe even less. And then just doesn't get cool. Like you can ruin a leather strap like that. So now the weather's getting nice. It's like in the 70s. And I can wear this watch again, in my opinion. So I'm wearing it. And this has been like the first nice weather weekend we've had.
Beautiful. On the seasonal watch trend, really quick, the watch that sparked that conversation is the Hamilton that we got, that Hamilton Field watch. Mm-hmm. And I love the watch, but you don't wear it in the summer. It's like it's
unless
a
you're
fall,
hiking or something.
It's like a fall and winter watch.
Yeah.
Period.
It's rugged. And rugged
it
to
fits
me is
so
like,
well.
Yeah, it's like flannel or like long sleeve, like it just feels like it fits better in that moment. So that's to our point is now it's kind of like it's cool to think about that approach when you're going for your watch collection of like, oh, now you can potentially have little like subgroups within your collection. Like these are my dress watches. These are my everyday watches. These are my now seasonal winter watches, which, this is my only one that I would consider my cold weather watch, but that's perfect. That means I can wear it a lot more, which is sweet.
Depending who you are, those could all be one or two watches.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
can have one watch that fits all of those molds.
This watch,
a watch that's easy to switch out with
I was just going to say, this watch is a good example. You could totally just pop this on a rubber, which I plan to do at some point. I'm looking, actually, gauge the audience if there's anyone out there. I'm looking for the best aftermarket rubber for this watch that utilizes the clasp from the bracelet. So it'll give it like how Rolex Oyster Flex does, where it has the clasp.
It's got to be Everest.
I found one on Everest, but they don't have it on this. On the website.
I see it on the Black Bay, you're right.
It's on the Black Bay, so I'm not sure if it fits. I'm not enough of a nerd to like know the lug length, but I'm sure.
You look like a nerd.
I feel like a nerd when
you
the
get
glasses
on.
Yeah,
I mean, you look like a nerd.
I do look it, but I don't play the part. I should measure it out though and just find out, because then I'm sure I could shop way easier. But like I know it's like, fits 39 millimeter lugs. I'm like, I don't know what that is. So
yeah, neither.
Long story short, if you know anyone that's been able to pull that off, specifically with the clasp, not with the belt buckle, because I hate the belt buckle. I like the clasp.
Fair.
And then I can turn this into a summer watch.
Yeah.
Or an everyday watch, which would be cool. Enough about me. What the heck are you wearing? Because it looks awfully interesting from here.
This is, what do the kids call it now? An NWA.
Yeah.
This is a new watch alert. You may have seen us kind of slowly bringing this thing to life on the Insta story. But this is a Seiko. I don't know if you can see that. If this is, I'm wasting my time. Not a Royal Oak. However, it looks oddly similar. And, well, first, let's just talk about this watch.
Yeah.
And then second, I'm going to give my thoughts on the similarities here.
Okay.
First things first. This was a crazy story. So an old baseball coach of mine, I saw him post one day about his new project, which was this, and how much time he had put into it. And I was like, what? That's wild. And I looked into it, and he started he's a big watch guy, and he started this brand, and he's got other couple brands relative to watches. So maybe stay tuned for some collaboration there. Hadn't been able to get on the phone with him and or get like a good conversation going, but we've had some interactions, and he sent us some cool gifts, which we're going to do a giveaway with some of those, and just stay tuned for that. But then Nick and I were like, well, let's buy a Seiko. And so we decided that we liked this dial color the best, which is like a salmon orange. It's the dial itself is beautiful. I mean, I guess, do you call it a motif? Checkerboard.
I don't know if AP,
you've all seen the checkerboard thing.
Yeah, it's the thing. Motif doesn't have. I think motif is a flat surface.
Okay.
And I think that actually has genuine like
This has depth to it.
this has depth. So
Yeah.
I don't know that that's motif. I think that's probably considered something like a waffle dial or something.
Yeah, it's like a waffle dial with some
Kinda like the
swirl,
PRX.
with some swirl in there. It's a waffle dial with some swirl in there. It 100% looks like an AP. I mean, it looks exactly like an AP, like a Royal Oak, pretty much.
Butterfly
That is
clasp.
the point of it. It's a butterfly clasp. You got an open case back, which it's honestly a pretty sick watch.
It's a cool watch.
It's a little bulky,
especially for the price, but it's a really cool watch.
It's a little bit bulky. I'm gonna give like a full quick review on it. One, all of the lugs are lined up perfectly on the front. That is awesome. It's got a cool loom on it. Again, the dial is beautiful. No date window. There is a date. A negative, a knock, I guess I would say, is there's no quick set function on the date. And so today is the 4th of September, which we're actually going to release this today.
Right.
So today was the 4th of September. Whenever I put this watch on today, it was on the 8th. And it literally took me, my house is like maybe a 8 to 10 minute drive, to get here. And the entire time I was just sitting there winding it.
While you were driving.
No, after I parked.
Not getting a sponsor from a safe driving
No,
company, that's for sure.
whenever I parked.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was while I was
Sure.
I had it in my hand though. I was just flicking it with my thumb,
Right.
I think. Okay. Whoops. Anyway,
That's a bummer.
it is a bummer.
We've
And
experienced
it's really
that in other
frustrating
watches
because it
before.
just takes forever, but
Yeah.
whatever, right? Wear your watches. If you're wearing your watches, then it
You don't have to
doesn't
worry
matter.
about that.
And I'm blessed to have enough watches, right? It's impossible.
Right.
But anyway, that is a knock. Another knock that I would say, I'm not sure if it's a knock or not, but the butterfly, and it's probably because I like to wear my watches tight, but I bent my wrist like this. Which way? Yeah, like this. And the watch
Moving the
like,
computer.
opened up. So I was like, all right, well, that's weird. So like it's just tight enough to where it pushes the butterfly on the side. So maybe, a firmer clasp.
I don't know.
Like something that's harder to push
I've
rather
never-
than it be so easy to push.
I think I've never felt an AP. I've worn an AP once maybe, and that wasn't even a thought.
Or like less protruding. So, I mean, I don't know.
I think less protruding is maybe a trick. I think that someone like AP versus, this time and effort put into this watch, they are probably thinking about those exact things, and this one's not. You know, so I think that's something that you just get with the price, but I think that you have to know that going in. Like the price of this watch,
$500.
yeah, you can expect little things like that. So that's not a big deal.
But I don't know if that's a knock or not. I think maybe it's just because I'm wearing it so tight.
It didn't happen to me when I wore it.
Right. And you like them a little loose.
A little loose.
Yeah.
I like to have a little bit
I
of
like
movement in
watches
there.
tight. I don't know. It's a weird thing.
So,
So
Bosco.
the design is pretty flawless in my opinion. Like relative to the way it looks, it's phenomenal. You've got the Seiko, logo on it, which is really cool.
I'm gonna put some photos.
Yeah,
up.
so
We're gonna
across
take
the
some
top,
pics.
like the top branding, it does say Seiko on the dial. The hands are really cool. In the box it comes in a box. I'm going to say good and bad. It comes with an extra strap, which is really cool.
And
It comes with a
what's
white
the
rubber.
strap?
It's a white rubber strap.
I don't know that.
Here's our box. It says, if you love your Seiko, please tag us, whatever. We will tag you. We have tagged you. Royal white straps. So, again, pretty cool. It's got the connectors. We will put this on the rubber as soon as we figure out how to do so.
Yep.
We kind of struggle with the ability to do these kind of things. We will rely on our friends at Dimitri Jewelers to do this.
Sometimes it makes, I want to learn to swap our own watches because we actually have a couple that we like swap back and forth.
Correct.
Like the Speedy, we go back and forth. And sometimes I want to learn how to fix it, but sometimes I also like the excuse of just having
being able
to go into Dimitri and hang out for a little bit, see the
100%.
guys.
I want to do that. So
But it'd be cool to change that onto the rubber so that we could share it a little bit better because it's tight.
So those are all positives. Something honest feedback negative is I didn't love the presentation inside of the box. So the box came with a pillow, but it also had like a cardboard, not cardboard, but like it had like
It's like a paper, like a durable paper.
holding to hold the pillow in place. and it like just didn't really hold the pillow in place.
Yeah, the pillow was like
so like when I
too
got
low.
it, you know, like shipping wise, like it was like a little like crooked off center. It wasn't perfect. However,
Yeah, like when you
I had
opened it.
this box right here, which is just a different box that happens to fit perfectly, even closed, inside of the Seiko box. So problem solved, easy fix. It's really not something that bothers me. I don't usually keep watches in the box anyway. The box is cool, but I didn't love that it wasn't like a perfect fit inside of the box. He probably has to do this packaging wise because of having like there's a tool in there. I mean, it comes with a tool.
There's a good bit of stuff that it packs
in there. And then you've got the white rubber band. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of packed into this box, which is nice. So
also, once again, for the price point, you can't expect it to be flawless.
100%.
And, you know, that's just one of the things.
100%. So on the design, people probably are like, oh, yeah, but like I don't like copycat watches or whatever. I think that, first off, like not everybody has the chance to get an AP, and you might really like the design of APs. And I think that this is a really fun, playful take on an AP, and it works. Like it's well made enough, and it's good. It's a Seiko dial. I think that there's a lot of really cool aspects to like this kind of replica model. Two,
it's a good point.
I think that there is a potential that, and it's not just one space, but I will say just like this one watch that I know of. But there's potential. I mean, these designs that like Gerald Genta created when he created the Royal Oak have been around. They weren't fully original. What is that clicking? What is that? Do you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Squirrel?
This is a squirrel. Anyway.
I don't know.
Gerald Genta potentially, this is such a hot take. He potentially took this design.
We've already talked about it.
Yeah, exactly from Astromaster, right?
Yeah.
So the Astromaster, I mean, I think is something that came out in like maybe the exact same time, potentially right before the Royal Oak, right before Genta came out with the Royal Oak design. So if you think this is a copycat watch, the Royal Oak itself could be a copycat watch anyway.
Yeah, if you're a true nerd.
Thank you, Palmer. Because Palmer put me onto that. He was like, yo, which this guy knows his stuff. He's like, yo, check out this watch. You can get one online for like $100. I was like, all right, well, we still haven't done that, but I think we might do that.
It'd be fun to have because it's a great conversation watch for the watch meetups and stuff.
100%.
You know, it's just like fun to be like, what is that?
100%.
And
well, this is a great conversation watch too, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a cool story behind this. I mean, like,
absolutely.
old baseball coach. I mean, this guy's a legend in the baseball community. I mean, he's pretty big time. All right, enough on that. Cool watch. Yeah. Stay tuned for some giveaways from one of his other companies that he was generous enough to send us some things, and we are going to spread the love and share them with you. Is that an issue?
No.
Okay. All right. Next, Nikki C. All right, so I have been missing some watch meetups because I travel all the time, and I get serious FOMO, but they're really cool, and one day I will make it to one. Nick and I are blessed enough to be part of a really, really cool community here, and we are trying to help grow that in Charleston.
Yep.
Part of that community is a few watch meetups every maybe quarter or even every year at this point, but we're trying to make it more regular. And the most recent one, Nikki C went to, and he saw some cool pieces. But
the name,
the one watch that I think Nick was more obsessed with, and I also am obsessed with, which would be so dialed for my outfit today, is the Zenith.
I'm trying to find it right now just so I don't botch the name.
Okay.
El Primero. I'm going to put a photo up and maybe a video. We'll see if we can find one to showcase one of the cool aspects of it. But yeah, so to back up a little bit, went to the watch event. It's the coolest thing. I think we've talked about it before, but it's literally just like people of all ages. Specifically this event, I was greeted in the driveway of the person's house that hosted it by his son, who knew about the watch I was wearing. His son was like 11, maybe. I could be wrong, but in an age that like I was like, this is awesome. Maybe he was, I don't know, I guess 11. But he came right out. He complimented my car. He was taking photos of other cars there because there was a bunch of cool like cars in the driveway. And he literally said like, nice root beer to my watch, which is funny because he's a young kid.
I didn't know what that was when I was 11.
No, heck no. I didn't know what that was when I was 23. I literally figured out watches recently. Yeah. So that was cool. But I was going to the point of like, it's just a fun environment because there's, let's call him potentially an 11-year-old and there's probably 70-year-old, maybe max age, but everyone's on the same page of we're all here because we have a common interest. So you just have conversations all night long with random people, and they're not like empty conversations like they are at, if you're, I don't know, just like at a random event or party where there's not a common, you know, what am I trying to think of? What word? Like a common interest, I guess?
Right.
Where you just have little empty conversations. This is like everyone's talking about the same thing. Everyone's there for the same reason.
Don't you hate those?
Yeah, those are the worst.
Hey, so how you doing?
Where are you from? Oh, cool. Do you know Johnny?
Yeah.
Like, dude, get the fuck out of
See
here.
you, bye.
Right. Such a waste of time. So these, however, are awesome because everyone's talking about something watch related typically. And the first person that I just got chatted with when I got there, just coincidentally, because he had on a purple band watch that was titanium. And I was like, that's pretty sick. What is it? And of course, this is another great thing. He's so generous, you know, that just takes it right off, which is
true watch people take their watch off when you
if
comment
someone compliments your watch, you take it off and you let them put it on if they can, or at least hold it, because that's such a unique experience. We all know how difficult it is to get your hands on a high-end watch, and even or being access or having access to like a dealer that you can even go in and look at them. Like we have one Rolex store here. So for people that want to touch and hold a Rolex, it's not that easy to get in there. So yeah, always take your watch off. But he let me wear it for like 30 minutes. And I literally sent to Joe and I'm like, I might buy this. It's for sale too, technically, like off market, let's call it. But he was like, I would sell it, gave me a price. And he's like, I'll let you know if someone else wants to buy it. I'll call you first. It's sick. And it's a watch I had never thought of until I put it on. So I think my biggest, like just to tie up the story, because there's not too much more to talk about on this watch specifically, but this is why I think you take off your watch and you go to like events like this and just chat with other people. Joe's very good at it, like telling people nice watch, checking it out, sometimes putting it on, taking a photo, experiencing it, because this is a watch I don't think I've ever even heard of. I'm familiar with Zenith, but strictly because of the Daytona aspect. And then I tried on, and all of a sudden I won it. And it's not a cheap watch, and it's like something I would spend that money on, which is interesting.
100%. So interesting thing. All right, first off, it is so awkward when you're like, hey man, I love your watch. Can I take a picture of it?
Yeah, I know. I haven't. That's why you do it.
I do it all the time. But
if someone lets me try it,
it is kind of awkward.
I take a photo.
I'm like, hey, do you mind if I take a picture of your watch? Like, yeah, sure.
All you gotta do is preface with like, I have a watch podcast, and this would be cool to share with everybody.
But I don't usually. I'm just like, hey man, I love your watch. Can I take a picture of it?
And they're like, sure, you fucking weirdo.
Hey, we got a way to edit this thing quickly.
Yeah, I know. All right, 7 minutes, all right. 23 minutes in.
23 minutes in. Darn it. All right, so a quick rewind. Last Sunday or 2 Sundays ago, I was at a wine bar, the wine bar we go to a lot on Sundays, Graft, local. Shout out Graft, because I love that place and I will continue to shout that place out. We're there. It's a great community vibe on Sundays. It's called Good Neighbor Sunday. And actually, I don't want anybody to know about it. No, I'm kidding. I do. I have mixed opinions. Stay away.
It's one of those things. It would be nice to keep like just the amount of people that's there.
Exactly. Yeah. But anyway, I met a guy there and he had this really cool Daytona on. I was like, man, I love this watch. Can I take a picture of it? He took it right off. That's the pictures you saw on Instagram. He took it right off. I had it on my wrist, taking pictures of it, was holding it. It's a vintage Daytona, a beautiful watch.
Yeah.
The reason I bring that up is because Zenith, just really quick backstory, and I hope I don't fully watch this, but Zenith was the original movement inside of the Rolex Daytona. The Rolex Daytona originally had a Zenith movement in it. Zenith created the ability for the Daytona, the watch that everyone goes bonkers about now, to exist. Like they are the reason
Rolex couldn't create.
They could not create the chrono without Zenith. So Zenith is incredibly integral into the history of watches, period. We could do an entire episode on that, but I just wanted to kind of bring that up. the Daytona itself, now that they make their own movement, and I even believe with the Zenith movement in it at that time, was like 1/30th. I think the movement is 1/30th, and the Zenith movement is 1/100th.
It's extremely more. It's
like
far superior.
3 to 4 times faster than, and it's the fastest chrono on the market. So it's like
It's insane.
Every time the chrono hand does a loop, that's 1 second.
This is the video we're gonna try to find.
And we're gonna try to video for it, but it looks wild. And it's
thought I
one of
had
the
one on
things
my
that
phone, but I don't.
I believe it's on Chip's Instagram if
Yeah.
you want to do that digging. But
I'll try to find it.
Yeah, we'll do that afterward. But
Yeah.
anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. So like Zenith is the entire reason that the Daytona exists today, and it's most people, drool over Daytonas as they should because they're incredible watches. But the inception of the Daytona is the Zenith and the Zenith movement, and Zenith makes a chrono that is incredible. And so this El Primero is incredible.
They make a lot of cool watches.
They've got some other ones that have like tricolor things. I mean, they're really cool watches. I've never dove into the world of Zenith, but I am a lot more interested after seeing the watch that Nick put on.
There's and I went on the website too. Like there's 3 or 4 on the website, I would say, that like I would love to see in person. I just don't know anyone with them. They're just not. I don't know. I can't tell you one person that has one other than this guy.
Yep.
And that's just Zenith, period, not just this specific watch. So
I mean, we should dive
cool
in.
to go.
There's a lot. I mean, we learned so much. Like there is so much that we don't know. It is absolutely crazy when you really just start diving in. You're like, huh, that's crazy. And it's really interesting. Speaking of not knowing things, I don't know how this next topic will play out. And to be honest with you, I'm not educated enough to be able to say a real factual number on what I think would happen. But Bucherer,
we don't know.
I mean,
how
come
to
on.
say
How
it.
do you pronounce this? I think it should be Bucherer. Apparently, it's Bucherer.
Yep, I've heard some pretty high up watch people say Bucherer, so that's where I'm gonna go with. But I don't. I think it sounds stupid.
Roman says Jaeger or Jaeger.
Yeah.
Even
he
Roman.
doesn't really
And
like
he's
to
like,
say Jaeger.
but he doesn't really care. He's kind of an OG. He's not a nerd.
Yeah, he can kind of do it every once.
He's a little bit of a nerd, but he's not. He's
No.
like, I don't. He's like, he'll be honest. He's like, he doesn't really care about reference numbers. He knows them, but he doesn't know all of them.
Yeah. That's. I think it's whatever you want to say.
Right.
No one's gonna.
Bucherer.
Yeah.
So they bought, or Rolex bought Bucherer, which I believe, and I just hope this is not wrong.
I did research before today.
Oh, okay.
So I can correct you if needed, but go ahead.
I believe Bucherer is the largest dealer in the world.
They are.
Right. So Bucherer is the largest distribution channel of watches in the world.
Yeah, they have 100 stores.
Okay.
Which is insane.
And now Rolex will be in all of them.
I don't. So this is where it gets a little gray. I'm not sure, but I'm imagining yes, that will be the situation. I don't know how that's going to play out. Like I don't know if it's going to be. I don't know. Are they all going to be ADs technically? Like, is that how that works, or is it just not going to be an AD because they're owned by Rolex? They don't even need to explain that they're an AD. I don't know. I don't think anyone knows just yet.
Do you think that's what the new facility in Switzerland is for?
It could be.
Are they doubling their production?
Maybe because you know that out of that deal, let's say that merger or that acquisition was probably underway for the last 2 years, maybe more. And then that announcement came out. They're putting a new building, so maybe it could be like once
a
they were
massive
doing
building, right? Like hundreds of thousands of square feet.
Yeah, it's a massive facility. So maybe this could be basically like to your point. I don't know enough about it, but it's cool to just start the conversation now and kind of educate people if you guys didn't know that this happened. Look it up for yourself and try to find some info. But basically, like I'm interested to see, does this mean that will there be more access to buying new Rolexes? That's my biggest question about it. Not that we have one of these stores close to us, but like, will it allow, maybe it will, like we have a lot of people that come to the Charleston location to buy watches from surrounding cities because there's not that many places to get a new one.
Yeah.
And maybe this will dilute the demand ever so slightly. Joe changing the camera again. So maybe this will dilute the demand or dilute the supply and demand issue, I guess, and maybe allow a little bit more access to watches. But Rolex is they came out during COVID, maybe, or whenever they came out and said that statement, which they never do, by the way. Like, this is like a groundbreaking.
Said their statement about
we don't care about demand. We're gonna make as many watches as we want. We're not gonna sit here and because everybody was talking smack.
Yeah. Well, I think they also said they're not going to sacrifice quality
just to meet demand.
Just to be able to meet demand.
Yeah, they basically just answered everyone. Right, because it went like viral when watches picked up in like 2020, and they became like nuts, and it was like this craze that there wasn't a watch available in any store, which is still lingering to this day. Although Dimitri, shout out, Dimitri has 2 watches in the case right now that would blow your mind. If you go in today, maybe they're in there, but
they're not open today.
They're not open today. But if you go in tomorrow, they have a platinum rainbow day date with a baguette bezel and a pave dial. So like it's $120,000 watch.
What?
Yeah. In the case.
Since when?
I told you about this. I've sent you a photo. Bro, you're joking.
All right, go ahead. I've
sent you 50 photos of this watch, so get out of here.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Anyway, they have, still a supply and demand issue, in my opinion, right? There's clearly not Rolexes in any store that anyone goes in. It's still a very hot topic, but they came out and said, we're not going to just make more watches because more people want them. They're going to make them the way they always have, which is 1 million watches a year, roughly, whatever. Mm-hmm. No one really knows.
Yeah.
But yeah.
One thing that I do think will come of this is, and then we can drop it after this, but one thing I do think that will come of this is I believe that there will be, if you remember one episode ago or 2 episodes ago, we talked about Bucherer Blue. I think that a Bucherer Blue Rolex is coming down the line, and they might potentially do Bucherer Blue in every model of Rolex, which would be
that's a cool prediction
right here. That we will see a Bucherer Blue in every model of Rolex, from Day-Date to Daytona to Yachtmaster to OP. And I think that will be a really cool line that comes out this year at Watches of Switzerland, which I believe we're going to be at. At Watches and Wonders.
Is a store.
Because Watches of Switzerland is a publicly traded dealer online. You did send me a picture of that. Yes. I didn't know.
You maybe didn't look into it as much?
I didn't know. No. I didn't know that was in the case.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you sent me to that discreetly, like, hey, look at this, but don't tell anybody about it.
No, that's in the case right now still. It's a 36 millimeter, though, so it's tough for people to justify because it's 100-something thousand.
That's a lot.
I would wear it. I tried it on, and I was like, "Oop, I would wear this every day." It's flashy, yes, but it's awesome.
Okay.
Which I typically wouldn't.
So speaking of watches that are going to be very hard to get and are hard to get, do you think that the new Swatch Blancpain collaboration will be as viral as the Moon Swatch?
I don't know anything about it to comment, but I don't think so.
So it's the same collaboration, and I'm with you in that I don't know much about it either. The true release is on the 9th, which is coming up in 3 or 4 days.
Same idea though. They're putting out a cheaper,
Swatch is making it. Mm-hmm. It is the Blancpain design. It's going to be the 50 Fathoms design. I hope it's not as thick as a 50 Fathoms.
Let me look that up real quick.
That is the watch that we have had on here.
Oh, that's
that watch, and that watch I believe is still for sale. It is the OG Dive Chrono watch. It's sweet. It's really incredible.
It's gonna look just like a Moon Swatch.
It's gonna look just like a Blancpain 50 Fathoms.
Well, I'm saying, but it's the same looking watch. Mm-hmm. Like from a distance,
they're both
you guys can't see this. Yeah, they're both chronos, but with even just both chronos with the same design.
Yeah.
Like this is a chrono, but it has 2 subdials, not 3. Mm-hmm. Whereas that one is going to look exactly like
we're not even going to put pictures of the Blancpain up here because we have an episode where you can go look at pictures and a full deep dive into that watch. And that's what we want you to do. So go back into that episode and you get to watch it.
Which is cool because that's a cool watch company that not many people talk about.
Nick and I are headed to New York this week on Friday.
Yeah.
And he'll already be there, but we'll be there on Friday, and we're going to do some watch shopping. And we were like, well, let's stop in a Swatch store and see if we can get a new Swatch. I think that the release of the Blancpain Swatch combo or a collaboration is going to make that way more difficult now.
Is it Friday?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll try to go Thursday before you get there.
It's
just to see if I can get
Saturday.
us a Swatch.
I think it's Saturday.
Oh, well, that's good then.
Because it's on the 9th, and the 8th is Friday.
Okay, that's
right?
good then. Then we can at least try to go.
Because we want to go. We just want to get a little moon swatch, or just a New York edition swatch. I don't know.
I want to just experience going into the store and buy something.
Yep.
You know, if it's a moon swatch, it's a moon swatch.
Right.
I don't love them, so I'm not really dying to get one. But if they have one, I'm buying it.
100%.
Simple as that.
And I think that. I don't know. It'll just be cool to go bounce around some watch stores. We'll try to maybe go live or post some more live content.
I'm gonna bring that little camera too, so we'll try to get a lot of content because there's the watch scene. If we want to go look at watches and like talk to people, we have one place to go, one place that we prefer to go. I'm sure there's a couple other little spots, but we don't go to them. So this is gonna be an interesting thing, and I haven't been to New York with free time in a long time to like go and do this, just like kill time and bop around at stores. What else are we doing? We got an exciting thing
we got something else that's really, really exciting. So we are linking up with Rashawn from Wrist Check Pod, which is he works at Watch Switzerland. He's actually taking he's not working on Friday, but he's going to take some time out, come and meet us at Watches of Switzerland.
So hype.
We'll probably walk around there and just talk and make a cool connection with one of 3 people that we've been trying to make a cool connection with. Wrist Check Pod started around the same time as us, a little bit before. They're very knowledgeable in the watch game, and they're crushing it on their podcast. So
please check out their podcast. It's cool. They have guests. And
they have really cool guests. It's really I'm looking forward to linking up with these guys. Even just Rashawn.
Yeah,
and just making a cool connection. Hopefully one day we have like a collaboration podcast. And maybe like we'll grab a beer and talk about some watches or grab lunch with him. I don't know what his plans are, but he just got married, so congrats to Rashawn.
It'll be fun just to hang out with someone doing what we're doing because we don't know anyone that's doing it. You know? So it'll be interesting to hear, even just to like shoot the breeze and like figure out like what are you guys dealing with? What's the growth look like? Just from a podcast, like we always like to talk about the business side of this, which is difficult. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to chat about stuff like that too. Yeah, outside of watches.
So they do a lot of episodes.
They do a lot of episodes.
They do guests pretty much every episode.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've got a lot of ammunition is the word that came to my head for some reason, but like a lot of people that can come on in New York City.
And they interact. Working at the store is pretty sick.
Yeah.
Like they probably interact with people and they can like, I wonder if they shoot the podcast.
They have Fremstar on their podcast, which is crazy. Frem is like the collector, man. Like Fremstar is the guy that like, I think about when I think about watches. I think about Fremstar.
Yeah, I think he has the most insane collection of all time.
I would love to meet him off camera.
Celebrities can't even touch his collection.
I would love to meet him off camera. I don't even need to have it on camera. I want to hang out with Frem and just and shoot the crap. And I also would love to see his watch collection. Like
his watch collection has to be in a room, a walk-in room.
I want to see it in its entirety. I don't know if he would let me do that.
No shot. I wouldn't let you do that.
Why?
Because I just wouldn't want anyone to know how large it is. Like he rolls it out in such a tasteful way. Like we don't know if he got rid of watches he's posted. We don't know if he's borrowing them.
There's something to the mystery about it.
You're right. Exactly. Like you don't. I'm sure he's not borrowing them. He never shows his face. He posts the same photo basically every single time, which is him driving. Which I shout out. He's got an AMG Mercedes, but it's always him driving with the music on in the background, and it's his watch. So you don't have to even see his name in the feed. You know who's posting that photo. And then he'll post, just a different watch, I would say literally every single day.
Yeah.
Like it's very rare that you see a repeat watch on his feed, which tells me he has a room full of watches at his house. He must.
365.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
And then he talks about the other day.
He's doing a giveaway right now for a Breitling.
Yeah.
A Breitling Super Ocean. So go follow Fremstar on Instagram. And I don't know what his giveaway is, but he is giving away a really awesome watch. So it's not for me personally, but if you like Breitling, go check that out.
What is that noise?
It's driving me bonkers, dude.
Adjust in the chair. Okay, I thought it was the chair, maybe.
I don't know. It's here. It's not here. I have no clue, man. I hope it doesn't show up on. It probably doesn't.
No shot. But, you can barely hear it.
It does.
But I
it
can
is hard
hear it.
for me to
Me
focus with it. Yeah. So.
All right. Got any other topics?
We got no other topics, man. I mean, I think that I'm really looking forward to Friday. And
Me too.
We'll give you an update, obviously, on the back end of that, but we might give you an update live. We're going to try to at least. We were going watch shopping. Well, watch shopping is a strong word. We were going watching. We're going watch exploring.
Yes.
Going to various watch dealers. We're going to go to, what is it, 47th or 57th Street Market?
I don't know what it's called, but there's a street there that just has too many watches.
Yeah, and all kinds of, I'm assuming, all kinds of like fake watches, which is just interesting to look at.
Lots of BS, but it'll be cool to see.
Oh, yeah, all kinds of real watches, like watch trading going on, like a full-fledged, like open market for gray market watches.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to go to Watches of Switzerland, which they carry everyone pretty much. And that's a really cool story. I'm excited to show you that story. I've had the pleasure of going before.
I looked at the photos that I think you took of like the downstairs and
really
like
cool.
the vibe. I'm pumped to go.
Really cool.
Never been in anything like that. It reminds me of like one of the airport watch stores where like they just have every watch brand that you could imagine, which is cool.
And then I did not go to any other boutiques when I was there the last time.
Yeah.
So we could
if we have time, that'd be cool to go to.
If we have a little bit of time to hit some other boutiques would be really, really neat.
Pop into the, maybe we can get Brant to introduce us, to send a warm intro to his Patek.
Is it a Tiffany relationship?
It's a Tiffany relationship, sorry, but Tiffany guy.
Yeah, interesting.
See if they have
just
anything.
Cool to see.
Just to chat and meet in person. Yeah.
Definitely not shopping for one of those, but I would love to be able to. All right, my dog's giving me the eyes like, hey, man, I need to poop.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm going to get up and show them Bosco because they deserve that, and you can close out our
All right,
episode.
Hey, thank you for listening to Normalize Talking About Watches. We are trying to spark the conversation further, and we're trying to create more of a community of people that just love watches, and there is Bosco right there, and the stories behind watches, and the dogs behind watches. I think that this is going to be a really cool outro with Bosco. You got a little bit of Nikki C in frame. Boom. Whoa. We're shaking.
Are you in?
Oh, I'm in. I'm more in right now. Hi.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Peace.